tremendous honor coming from you and your colleagues. And I've been associated, but not active for several years. In fact, I wonder whether I'm a paid up member these days. I think if I've forgotten the reminder, I apologize about that. But I'm you know, as I will say, although I didn't set out to be an Olympic historian, I've always tried to argue for, to assert, to examine, and to write about the full scope of the Olympic movement. And in North America, where the Olympics have been narrowed in meaning to simply high performance and competitions every 4 years. That's often been an uphill battle, but I've spent a lot of energy on that. I've written for, you know, I've edited and published books. I've written academic articles and a lot of popular articles, and I've done a lot of popular education on that theme. And it's been a kind of labor of love ever since I was a young man. I first started writing about Olympic history actually when I was a competitor in the 1964 Olympics, and I wrote a syndicated newspaper column for all of the student newspapers across Canada. Mm-hmm. And I've been writing about the Olympics ever since. As I will tell you, I spent about 10 years trying to, leading an Olympic Academy in Canada and trying to educate the next generation of Canadian sports leaders in the idea of the Olympics as a broad humanitarian project, not simply sport for sport's sake, and spent a lot of time on doing that. So to be honored by you and your colleagues who carry this torch in such important ways is very moving.
Thank you. No, it's our pleasure. It's fully our pleasure. And what you emphasized right now also tells us that you, as many other Olympic historians, you don't focus literally only on Olympic history. It's always about Olympic education, right?
I became an ally of my feminist Olympic teammates very early on. I can't say that I was very good in the early days, but gradually they took me aside and pointed out the tremendous inequalities they faced. And so I had 2 or 3 very prominent women teammates who became feminist sports leaders in Canada. And I became their ally and their advocate. And gradually, as I came into positions of responsibility, was able to argue for change, and was able to make some of those changes at the university where I worked. But I continue to be involved, and again, I'm involved in what I would call the struggle around the struggle for trans, the struggle for women with disorders of development, DSD. So I've been part of the international campaign to help Caster Semenya and Dutee Chand, and I've argued that in terms of just Olympic governance and Olympic policy making. So I wrote a paper probably in the last 10 years about the IOC Medical Commission. and how, you know, how much better it could be. I mean, from an academic point of view, they follow none of the ethical or scientific practices that we in the academy take for granted. So that became an issue. And in this case, as in some of the others, I gradually became involved in an issue and then decided to write about it. And then, you know, did research and wrote some more, and did research and wrote some more. So I'm very much involved in those struggles right now. I'm glad the IOC is much better now, and I'm very supportive of the, you know, of the most recent effort to bring an equal number of medal events and equal media coverage and equal funding to women and men Olympic athletes. But some of the international federations are just terrible. And what athletics does, what FINA is doing, what World Rugby does, that's quite frightening. And some of my best ideas I got from my students, or some of the issues that I became involved came from my students. Sir, this happened to me. And I would say, that's terrible. Would you like to do some research on this? And that would lead to, so that being in the academy with students involved in sport was a very fruitful environment to do some of this work. The unaccountable governance and the fact that most governing bodies, whether it's Olympic sport or professional corporate sport, is inaccessible. The decision making are made by small boards of white men who are completely unaccountable. You know, athletes have voice but no vote. The public has neither voice nor vote. And if there's a crisis, the people who are involved in sport should have much more access to decision making. How to address that? I mean, I still regret the races that I didn't win, but for the most part, I had a very rewarding sports career. I was able to compete against some of the very best runners in the world. I had some very rewarding experiences. I was able to travel. I was able to learn from those experiences. And I'm still in touch with people against whom I raced 60 years ago in other countries.
That's fantastic.
I find that very, very moving that some of the friendships that I made 60 years ago as a very young man have stood the test of time.